Alright guys, I'm Bad Dog, and this is an attempt to show you how to import and export animations into Blender using Pinifly. So to deal with animations, the first thing we need is a skeleton file. So let's go find one and bring it in. This is just going to be the vanilla skeleton file. We want the full skeleton because it has extra bones like camera bones and so forth. That will be useful to us for the animation. We'll use Blender orientation because it's a little more convenient. And we won't import the collisions because they get in our way and we don't need them for animations. So we do the import and there is our skeleton. Now we'll do the same import an if and we'll import body parts. And this isn't actually necessary, but when you're doing animations, you want to see what you're animating, so it's helpful. Again, we pull in body, feet, hands, and head, attach them to the skeleton. The skeleton's selected, so they'll get rigged for us. And now we select the skeleton and we import the animation with import HKX animation file. We do this with the skeleton selected, and we do it in object mode. The animation comes from our animation folder. This is just a vanilla animation folder. And we'll bring in Sneak Empty Idle, which is convenient because it's easy to trigger when we're in the game and see that we did a thing. We import the skeleton, the animation HKX file, but we also need a reference skeleton, and that's the skeleton HKX file that's in the character assets folder. So we go ahead and get that, copy its path, and paste it into this thing. I haven't figured out how to get Blender to give me two file selection dialog boxes, not one, so you have to paste in the path by hand. Then we import HKX, and there it is. Here's our sneak animation in Blender. So that's all good. Now we go to the animation view, have a look at our thing, and we're going to make a quick and easy change to this animation just so that we can see that we did a thing. And what we'll do is we will get rid of all the keyframes between '80 and 100 and 120. Bing. And of course Blender will interpolate for us, so it's continuous. And then we'll go to frame 100 and we'll make a few changes. We'll let him jump up in the air a bit, kick his legs out so it's kind of obvious what we did. That'll do. It's just a little animation. We don't need to do anything special. And we insert a keyframe. Now let's see if we did this right. There he is, jumps up in the air, kicks his feet out. Okay, so that's our animation. Now in pose mode, we export, and we have to be in pose mode because that determines which bones we're going to export. And since they're all selected, we will in fact export all of them. Yeah, I have to hit export, that's all. Okay, so we export the HKX file, and we're going to export it to our overwrite directory. I'm using mod organizer, so if I put it in the overwrite directory, it will pick it up. Here again, we need to give it a reference skeleton, but it's carried over the reference skeleton from the import, so I don't need to specify it explicitly. And it'll be sneakemptyidle.hkx, and we export. And it takes a second to go through all the bones and all the keyframes. Notice we did not have to create keyframes or bake or anything like that for our change. it will export keyframes, one keyframe every 30 keyframes a second, and so it'll do the interpolation for you. And I hope that worked. Let's have a look at our system console, which is where the messages go. And we see that it did in fact work. And we see that along the way, it created a temporary KF file, which you can open using nifscope if you want to see what it did, or if you're trying to debug a problem. Mostly, though, you can just ignore those and deal with the exported animation file directly. Okay. So now what we do is we check it out. So we bring up Skyrim. Like I said, I'm using Monitor Organizer, so we'll bring it up through Monitor Organizer. That will pick up the file that we just created in the overwrite directory. And here comes Skyrim. Think. Here we are. Here's our little guy. And we go into Sneak. There he is doing his sneak animation. And in a minute, he jumps up in the air, kicks his feet out. So we can see that we actually did the thing. And that's all there is to it. You can create your own animations from scratch. Yeah, that's it.